What is popping, y'all? Welcome back to the Heat Report. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the Heat's upcoming road trip, Victor Oladipo's injury, and a lot of other things that happened since the last video. Make sure to smash a like and subscribe as always. On the road to 400, y'all. Y'all killed the last video about Dwayne Dedman. Yeah, you got I got a lot of new subscribers. So if you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, man. We're trying to grow the community out here. Also follow my second channel. It's in the description. If you like NBA and general basketball, not just Heat basketball, I talk about, the NBA in general. The link will be in the description and it will be the pin comment. I just made a video about the Phoenix Suns. So if y'all are interested in content like that, make sure y'all click that link in the description or in the pinned comment. Appreciate you guys. Let's get right into it, man. So the Miami Heat are on the verge of a 3-game road trip against the Blazers, the Suns, and the Timberwolves, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty tough teams, man. Before in the last Heat Weekly, when I talked about the road trip, I said if we go 3-2, realistically, I'd be pretty happy with that because these teams are very tough to beat. Obviously, we lost the first one against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies loss was kind of disappointing because we have lost to them twice, and in the first game it was because we couldn't score, but in the second game it was because we couldn't defend. We couldn't defend anything. It started off with Valanciunas killing us down low, and then even when Valanciunas was out, we were getting out hustled by their backups. Xavier Tillman was out hustling everyone else. Yeah, and Dylan Brooks killed us in the third quarter, so we couldn't really stop any of them. But I really thought the Grizzlies game was where we saw Victor Oladipo starting to pick up his form with the Heat. And the Lakers game, I thought, was his best game in a Heat uniform until he got injured, very unfortunately. We have to talk about his injury, man. He did come up with a non-contact knee-ish injury. He grabbed at his knee after he went over for a wide-open dunk that he did off a backdoor cut. I'm not sure if the injury was with the landing or with him dunking the ball. I don't know how that injury came up, but this is concerning because this is the same knee that he had hurt previously. So, and someone really close to Oladipo is saying that has been a nagging thing with him. Thankfully, from Bam's reaction and from Victor Oladipo, people talking to Victor Oladipo, he doesn't think it's that bad. He just thinks it was just a scare. Bam thinks he's fine. The report was he's going to miss at least the next 4 games, which is in one way encouraging because if he was out for the season, I think they would have told us that he's out for the season. But you know how the Heat are with some injuries, man. They kind of like to hide their injury reports a lot. But I really do think that if he was out for longer than 4 days, they would have said that. Players getting injured, it'll say, okay, he's gonna miss the next 3 to 4 weeks with this or that. But Victor Oladipo, it was at least the next 4 days, which seems like it's not a season-ending injury or anything like that. But fingers crossed. We don't know any other details apart from all that. The X-ray test came out negative, which is cool, but he still had to get the MRI scan, and we don't really know the test about the results of the MRI scan. The X-ray is basically determining that there is no bone damage or anything like that. MRI scan determines muscular injuries. I don't think it's a tear or a sprain because he would have gone down. He didn't go down. He was just limping. So I don't think it's like an ACL tear or any of that other stuff. I do think it's either like a hyperextension or a sprain. I'm not a doctor, but this is just what my hunch is. But hopefully he'll come back sooner than later because he really provides an outlet on the court to score the ball, and he's a very good defender as well. So we're going to need him for the playoffs, and especially in these, final 20 games where we're, rounding out the home stretch of the regular season. The positives about this, I don't want to say positives about the injury because there are none, but the injury does open up minutes for Kendrick Nunn, who I thought should have been getting minutes even when Victor Oladipo was healthy. It's kind of unfortunate what is happening to Kendrick Nunn. He's not really getting a lot of minutes. He's been given a lot of DNPs. I really think that Coach Spo should try to put Kendrick Nunn in the rotation, especially in these last couple games when Goran Dragic hasn't really been playing the best. Against the Lakers particularly, we did win that game, but Goran Dragic, there was a lot of consecutive possessions where he turned the ball over, lost it, missed shots. He couldn't really hit his threes. Kendrick Nunn, I think, deserve some minutes over him in that Lakers game. I think what Spo should do is, if Goran, he should. I mean, if he wants to trust Goran Dragic over Kendrick Nunn, he should play Goran Dragic, and if he's not, finding any success, I think he should revert to Kendrick Nunn back in a game, because we are blessed to have Kendrick Nunn as a guy who's not even in our rotation. That just shows you how deep our team is. So yeah, Kendrick Nunn obviously, he will be getting some more minutes in this road trip. I think he might be starting. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Spo puts him in the starting lineup, because he usually likes to have Goran as a sixth man, barring any injuries to our guards. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kendrick Nunn started tomorrow against the Trailblazers. And apart from that, I do think that Precious Achiuwa played really well against the Lakers. Not only with his his scoring and all that stuff, but I thought he really hustled. He picked up a couple early fouls, but I thought he played some great defense. He had that one big block, that layup in transition, which was probably a travel. Let's be honest. I really do think he needs to work on his, passing, something like that, because every time he catches the ball, he wants to shoot it. Whether it's like in transition or like on the block when there's players surrounding him and where there's a shooter wide open. I think he has to figure that out. He's only a rookie though. I think he does have a lot of potential. I'm not it's very tough to consider players bust after half a season. People can't be saying that about a player. It takes players a long time for them to solidify their careers. Precious Achiuwa, I do think is gonna have a good career. I wouldn't consider him a bust whatsoever. Even guys like Josh Jackson, who were considered to be busts, he's hooping in Detroit. So Precious Achiuwa, you have to give him some time in order to consider him a bust or not part of the future. Pat Riley clearly sees him as a part of the future, because he would have been gone. We all expected either Precious or Duncan to be traded, and they're both still on the team at the trade deadline. Let's be honest, like Duncan Robinson, he probably thought he was gone too. Like, I listened to his podcast. He thought he was gone for sure. So, and the same with Precious. Like they were talking about how the Raptors they really liked Precious, and Precious would have to be in a package. So yeah, I mean, it's good that we aren't giving up on these guys, because I do think they have a lot of potential. But we are stuck in that purgatory where we have to either win now or build for the future, and Jimmy's timeline doesn't really fit with the rest of the team. So we have to figure all that out soon, and I hope we will. Obviously, I'm pretty excited to see Dwayne Dedmon. I hope he plays tomorrow. I think he will. I really do think Dwayne Dedmon can add something to us. It's just a matter of what does he have left in the tank. I saw one of the comments on my video talking about it just matters. We have to see what he has left in the tank, because he's coming off an injury. He hasn't played basketball, and I do agree with that. I do think that Dwayne Dedmon, we haven't seen him play in a while, but I do think he could please be serviceable if he's in game shape. Like Ariza is still a serviceable player. If he's shooting his threes, it's a bonus, but he's always going to be a great defender. I do think Dwayne Dedmon will be a true center. Bielitsa is kind of forced to be played at the center position. I don't think he's a center whatsoever. He lacks the foot speed to defend mobile centers. Like Montrezl Harrell was killing him. And yeah, I just don't think he's a center. I don't think he's a center whatsoever. We were just playing him at center because Precious wasn't playing well. But I do think Dwayne Dedmon and Precious will be getting some more minutes in this road trip. So stay tuned for that road trip, because it's going to be interesting to see how we play. Like I said, after the road trip, our schedule becomes a little bit more easier. The Trailblazers, Suns, and the Nuggets is very tough. I'm not even gonna lie, very tough. And then the Timberwolves, Nets. So Trailblazers, Suns, Nuggets, Timberwolves, and Nets are probably the 4 out of the 5 toughest games of the season. And then we have teams like Rockets, Spurs, Bulls twice, Cavs, Hawks. And so, I mean, we should be fine with the teams after that. And we do here and there play teams like the Mavericks and the Sixers, but I do think we should be okay. I think we should be okay. In these last 20 games, if I'm looking at the standings right now, we do sit at the 6th seed still. Sort of disappointing, because we were, just at the 4th seed, but I do think Charlotte will drop. I'm not sure how they're still the 4th seed. That's, you got to hats off to the Hornets, because They lost LaMelo and they lost Gordon Hayward. So if we're doing like a little standings watch right now, they're sitting at the 4th seed, but it's not, that comfortable. The Hawks are right on their tail. I do think the Hawks will probably end up with the 4th seed. I do think the Hawks will end up with the 4th seed. I think we'll be playing the Hawks in the first round. I really do think we'll be playing Hawks in the first round. I think the Hornets will drop. I do think the Hornets will drop. And I think the Celtics will be 6. I think the Celtics and Hornets will be 6, 7, and somewhere. I think we'll finish as the 5th seed. That's my prediction. Because the Hawks are on a roll right now. I'm not sure. I don't think we're gonna finish below 5, and I don't think we're gonna finish above 4. And the same with the Hawks. I think the Hawks are gonna be our first round matchup. But that's just my prediction. Anything can happen. But that's just what I feel is gonna happen right now. Which is interesting. Which is really, really interesting. Because obviously the Hornets have had some injuries and the Celtics have had some players out as well. So the standings are tough. The standings are really, really tough. We have to make sure that we really have to make sure that we take care of our business, because we don't want to be sitting there in a play-in spot, because that's a dangerous game, because it's only a 1-game elimination series, especially against teams like the Pacers and the who have given us some trouble. Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be really, really tough. But I do think we can finish off as a 4 or 5 seed, similar to how we did last year. And in a year that was like supposed to be a down year for us, if we finish as a 4 or 5 seed, it would be the exact same position that we did last year, which is kind of funny to me. Victor Oladipo, as far as his contract is concerned, I don't know if this injury is going to affect his contract. I really don't, because he has picked up a few injuries. He has. We have to be mindful of what we're going to be giving him in the offseason. He can't be injured next year. We can't have him injured next year. He's gonna be he's gonna be an important piece to us, but only if he's healthy. So don't expect a max contract for Oladipo. We were trying to talk about an extension, but I do think it was a good idea to trade for him, because it's kind of like a trial period. Like, yeah, we're gonna see how you play, and if you play well, we'll pay you some money and you can stay with us long term. I do think he's going to stay with us long term, but I don't know if he's going to get as much money as he hopes for. So we're going to have to figure that out. He did turn down a 2-year, $45 million extension from the Rockets, but it was the Rockets offering and not the Heat. No disrespect to the Rockets, but come on, man. It's the Rockets. And apart from that, I don't really think we have much more to cover. I did cover Victor Oladipo. I covered the road trip. Hopefully we take care of business on this road trip. Hopefully we come out with some W's. ESPN is tripping for having Bam at, what did they have Bam 9 on the 25 top 25 under 25 list. Bam is top 5 in my opinion. I think after Luka, Zion, and Tatum, I do think you can either have Bam or Booker, one of the two. Whether you have Booker ahead of Bam or Bam ahead of Booker, as far as potential and right now, I think Bam is top 5. So ESPN is tripping, but ESPN always disrespects the Heat. So there's nothing new about that. Shout out to Paul Pierce for being fired, and shout out to D Wade. Shout out 2-year anniversary of D Wade playing his final game for the Heat. Shout out to D Wade. Yeah, that's gonna be it for me, guys. Stay tuned. If you guys start to show more love, I will be thinking about doing some live shows where I can interact with the comment section live, like during a video. That'll be pretty fun, so stay tuned for that. I'll see y'all later. As always, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought about this video. Peace.